Hey BooTube, I am back. I'm gonna see if I can make this as fast as possible because it's currently 1:30 in the morning, and this is episode 3 and of season 3 of Supergirl, and episode 4 of season 3 has already premiered literally like 2 days ago because it's currently 1:30 a.m. in the morning, Wednesday, and this premiered this episode that I am currently doing premiered October 23rd, and the episode 4 literally premiered on Monday, like literally 2 days ago. So, and also I don't know how much room I have right now in my recording space. So anyway, this is Supergirl season 3, episode 3, titled Far From the Tree. And obviously this is going to be heavily based on family, because usually when we get a title like this, Far From the Tree, it's kind of like a saying you get all the time when you talk about family. Like, for example, you got like a parent who's stubborn or the greatest parent in the world, and then you get their child who's the complete opposite of that parent. Hence the phrase "far from a tree." Like, for example, like say you have a parent who's like the meanest person in the world, right? And then you look at the kid, and they're like the nicest person in the world, and it's like that kid fell pretty damn far from the tree, which means they are completely different from their actual parents. The tree being the parent, the apple being the child, right? But anyway, hang on for a sec, guys. Let's pause this. Sorry about that, guys. I totally thought I heard something, but then again, who the hell would be trick-or-treating at 1:30 in the morning, 1:35 in the morning, man? Halloween's over. But anyway, going to the actual thing, from what I remember, from the previous episode, which is episode 2, Jean's at the bar and gets a telepathic message from Magan telling him to come to Mars. And so we start off in this episode where Jean actually tells Kara and Alex about Magan's message that he got, and Alex suggests, Kara goes with him, right? And Kara's like, yeah, I want to go with you. I want to help you. Whatever's going on Mars, especially considering, the white Martians have completely wiped out all the green Martians except for Jean. It's not safe for Jean to go to Mars. I mean, hello, the white Martians came there. Well, not really came there. White Martians took over, killed all the greens. Jean barely escaped with his life. He's the last of the greens. So obviously it's not safe for him to go to Mars, so Alex and Kara agree with the whole, yeah, Kara should go with him, right? Because obviously Alex can't. But anyway, Kara and Jean end up journeying to Mars in a little mini Mars spaceship that Jean had, which is pretty much disguised as a 60s car, which I think is pretty freaking badass. It's like, Jean, you got some good taste, man. That 60s car looks vintage. Anyway, they managed to encounter Magan, naturally, and a group of white Martian freedom fighters. Because remember, Magan mentioned when she went back to Mars the first time, she said that she was going to try to see if she can get white Martians to be on her side. Because remember, she was one of the... from what we known, she was the only white Martian, from what we know, that did not like the fact that they were capturing, torturing, and killing green Martians. She didn't like it. She was a white Martian that didn't like it. And so she wanted to go back to Mars to see if there's any other white Martians that think the way she does, She wants to see if there's any white Martians that are opposed to the killings of the green Martians, right? And so apparently she was successful, obviously, because she's there with a group of white Martian freedom fighters who were opposed to the whole killing of the greens. But anyway, they revealed that they were doing a raid on a green Martian prison camp, most likely, most likely repent for what they've done to the green Martians. They tried to raid a prison camp, hoping maybe they might find a survivor or something, which turns out they did, because when they raided the green Martian camp, apparently they found Jean's father. So we all believe that Jean Jones, aka the Martian Manhunter, was literally the last green Martian left on Mars, and every other green was wiped out which included Jean's wife and two daughters. But apparently Jean also has his dad there, and he's alive. Jean is not the last green Martian, guys. There are literally 2 green Martians still alive. Jean and his father, Myron. Was it Myron? How do you pronounce it? Because it's like M''Yrnn. Is it Myron? Or Myrin or whatever. But anyway, yeah. The 2 green Martians. And here's a little fun fact, guys. I actually recognize that guy's voice. If you guys watched the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited animated cartoons, and I believe also some of the movies, some of the animated movies anyways, but for sure the Justice League animated cartoon and Justice League Unlimited, if you guys watched those back then, if you're old enough to actually know of those shows, the guy who plays Jean's father, he's actually the voice of the original Martian Manhunter from the Justice League Unlimited cartoons. It's the same guy. So basically, we have 2 Martian Manhunters. We have the one that plays Martian Manhunter on the show, and we have the one who's currently playing Martian Manhunter's dad, who voiced Martian Manhunter in the old animated cartoons. So it's like, that is freaking sick! The fact that they got the original voice actor for Martian Manhunter from the Justice League Unlimited cartoons to play his beloved character's father? Come on, that's beautiful. That's freaking epping beautiful to me. Anyway, Jean rescues his father, obviously, but unfortunately, Myron, he's captured, tortured by the White Martians that captured everything. Obviously, he's been through hell, right? And he believes that he's the last green Martian. And apparently, these Martians did not want to kill Myron, only because Myron has information about a certain spear, or not spear, like a staff. That's like a very powerful weapon that the evil White Martians want to have for themselves so they can pretty much conquer Mars, right? And the reason why they haven't killed Myron is because Myron's the only one who knows the whereabouts of this powerful weapon, right? And so they're torturing him, trying to get information out of him and everything. And Myron's so heartbroken because he believes he's the last Martian. He's like, all the Greens are dead, including his granddaughters, and he believes his son's also dead, right? So when Jean comes over to rescue his father, Myron doesn't believe that Jean is Jean. He thinks that Jean is just a White Martian in disguise, pretending to be his son, because he's like, my son is dead, you can't trick me, and all that stuff. And he's like, even though Jean's like, I escaped to Earth, I'm alive, he's like, ha ha ha, I don't believe you, my son wouldn't escape, right? So of course he's completely Jean is friggin' heartbroken. I kind of don't blame him on that one. But Kara manages to pretty much talk to Myron a little bit, you know, like, hey, you can tell I'm not a White Martian, just sense me, read my mind, I'm not a White Martian. And he figures out, you know, by reading her mind, she's a Kryptonian. Apparently he also learned about Krypton's fate, and he's like, you're the last of your kind. They pretty much bond a little bit, because you remember, Myron still thinks he's the last green Martian, right? So they kind of bond about being the last of their kind. But, I don't know how, but she manages to kind of convince Myron to hear Jean out a little bit, and Jean uses a memory thing to pretty much show a memory. Basically, he brings a memory to his father that only him and his father would know of, to pretty much prove to him, hey, I'm not a White Martian. If I was a White Martian in disguise, I would not know this memory, basically, right? So he shows a particular memory from their past that only obviously Jean and his dad would know, and that memory